I think we lost all of our viewers when I ended the last stream.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear
But
that.
that's always the best way to start a fan mail is by losing everybody. But that's fine because we had things to do.
Yeah. And I think we're on our way to getting it done. I don't know if it's 100% fixed yet, but it sounds promising that you think it sounds good, the audio.
Well,
I think maybe we'll find out the real judges are on their way and they'll tell us if it sounds good.
Exactly. When people turn up, they'll tell us whether your microphone sounds good, better, or the same. Good, or
Yeah.
what do you say? Better, same, or worse? That's it. That's the phrase I was looking for.
Good, bad, or ugly.
Yeah, the good, the bad, and the ugly of your new Go XLR and your microphone there. I think it sounds fine. If any, you sound like you're on radio. You got the bassiness in there. I think it's
that's me using the equalizer. I might have over equalized it, honestly. But I was just trying to get, because in my ears I was hearing a lot of like fans and like just the room ambiance. So I was changing the equalizers to try to minimize that, and it probably makes my voice sound pretty bassy.
We should do a poll. You can do polls on Twitch at least. Manage poll. New poll. Does James sound better today? Hell yeah, he does.
Is that? Oh,
no,
that's one. I thought somebody answered that.
Terrible. No, I'm just rating some poll options. What's the? Can't tell the difference.
I would. How about this
donuts.
as one of them?
Go on.
I would rather eat a bicycle piece by piece than listen to another moment of James talking.
It's too long. I'll just put.
That was what somebody had said about Joey Greer in one of the streams that I had done.
That is a phenomenal description.
I've never forgotten it. It's my favorite.
What's the word for when you describing, painting a mental image for something? There's a word for that.
I don't know the word that you're looking for.
Neither do I. I'm very tired. The view count is building. There's no one in the chat yet, but the poll's live. If anyone wants to vote on it, just to let us know. But anyway, we should probably move on. We've only got a limited amount of time available. Do we have any announcements? Do you have any announcements?
I don't have any announcements. Let's think. Yeah, no announcements on my end.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing you want to plug today at all.
Well, I guess the new episode of Original Understudies came out today, and it has Johnny Cruz, who is Lucio from Overwatch, in it.
Ooh.
So I don't remember if Morgan is in that recording. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he is. But it has Johnny Cruz in it. And then we recorded again with him last week, and I hate to spoil it. It was he's a committed, dedicated guy, and he showed up even though he had COVID.
Oh wow, really?
It was virtual. It was virtual, so it wasn't like he was putting us at risk.
Oh yeah, no,
but
I assumed as much. I didn't think he'd turned up and just sneezed all over you. But you never know in this day and age, do you?
You never know.
Cool. Well, in the absence of any other the only other announcement, I suppose, if you can call it that, is just to apologise for the lack of videos lately. It's just a combination of James was away for a few weeks, and I recorded some stuff with Zach that I just never got around to editing, which is my fault. So that is on my to-do list, but for some reason, time just seems to be constantly escaping me at the moment. So yeah, there's no good excuse for it other than we've just been very busy. But I'm going to try and get more videos up this week.
I finished a Spider-Man video, but we were talking about putting it in 4K, and I tried recording Spider-Man at 4K, and it was a tragic no.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to record in 4K.
Yeah.
So my plan. well, if you can call it a plan, is I have it on authority that if you upload in 4K for gaming, you get more preference in the algorithm. Now, some games I could record in 4K and some games I definitely couldn't. And I'm sure there's a ton of games that you couldn't record in 4K, but like older games you maybe could. But you could record in 1080p or even 1440p if you can get away with 1440. And then I can upscale it to 4K, and it would still look better than just putting it up as 1080p, if that makes sense. And the algorithm would still consider it to be 4K.
I wonder how it would look better, because I don't understand how
because
that would happen.
YouTube gives you a more generous bit rate when you upload in 4K.
Oh, well, that makes sense. I was like, how can you actually make it better? But they're giving you a better bit rate when it's 4K. Well, hot damn, Danny, that's a good idea.
There you go.
That was the piece of the puzzle I just didn't get yet.
Yeah. It doesn't make the game look magically better, but you do get a better bit rate. So it still looks a bit better, but it'll still give you the... But if you record in 1440p and upload it to 4K, then you're still getting the 1440p level of quality, which there's... I don't know if YouTube...
1440p?
It's halfway between 1080 and 4K.
Okay, well, I guess that makes sense.
It's kind of a compromise. It's a middle ground, and therefore,
why did they never release TVs? Or did they? And I just missed the memo.
I don't think they did for TVs. Monitors for sure, but I don't think there's ever been a 1440p television. Someone's going to make a fool out of me there. I'm sure one probably does exist somewhere, but yeah, it is kind of like 1080p went straight to 4K for TVs.
And it seems like we're going to go straight to 8K, when in reality, like 6K wouldn't be so bad for a while. Why does everything have to double every time?
Well, you work in television, so you riddle me this, right? So we live in a world now. So going back to the year 1998.
Okay.
When
I'm there, Danny. I'm there. Go on.
Take That was still hot, and digital television came around for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the promises of digital television was when this high definition thing arrived, it would be easy to switch over to high definition. And then in about 2002, 3, something like that, they started making programs in high definition, right? And that's when you started seeing widescreen televisions for the first time and stuff like that. It's now 2022, so it's been 20 years since then. And when I go onto my satellite TV box, same with cable, it might be different in America, but most of the channels are still in standard definition.
Really?
Like,
I guess it depends on where you are, but like I don't use regular TV, so I didn't know this until just like a week ago when I was at my mom's place. The regular TV out there is way higher definition than the YouTube TV that I'm watching. And they're just using a digital antenna. It's like it's not 8K, but it looks like surreally better. And they're not using cable, they're just using a digital antenna. I'm like, how are they sending a digital signal that looks that crisp? How is that happening, Danny?
Well, that's true. There are a lot of... There's probably about 30 or 40 HD channels in the UK, but this is out of like 600 channels, right? Like most of them are still in standard def.
Are they coming through an antenna or through?
So in my situation, it's through a satellite dish, but you can also get them through an antenna, and you can also get them through cable. So you've got the choice of which of 3 ways to do it. But the situation's more or less the same with all 3 of them, in that there's only like a subset of channels which are in high definition, and the rest are still in SD. And
that's probably still the case. I think it's just the major channels in the Chicagoland area that are streaming out in like the HD, like ultra HD.
There's no 4K. There's only one 4K, and it's a test channel, the Astra HD 4K test channel.
Is it just very beautiful bars of color?
It's bars of color, and then it's well, you probably know this, but the one thing that they always do to whenever they have a demonstration channel is it's just nature, just somebody pointing a camera at a bear somewhere. You know,
I'd love
because
that. That
Nate
is
just
not how our channels are like that here.
no, because it's not a channel that you sit and watch. It's a channel that you tune into when you have it set up in the store. So it's just literally just the nicest possible. And if you want to get nice pictures in 4K, you basically take it's just either a salmon jumping out of a lake or a bear rolling down a hill. I don't know. It's just animals and landscapes. Those are the things you film for demonstration purposes, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, we're very off topic. Should we do some comments?
Yeah, let's do some comments. I think we bought ourselves some time, made up for the fact that there's only 2 videos.
Yep, absolutely.
You want to roll the intro?
Already did it. We talked right over it. So that's what we call that efficiency. It's all good. 2 videos this week. We got about 20 odd comments between them though, so that's okay. First one is Resident Evil, and it's episode number 21. And Dark Page begins by saying that he totally agrees with the big name voice actors is garbage.
Yeah. There's a lot of reasons for it. First of all, those big name actors are making big time money and they don't need it. So let's just put that on the top. Secondly, if we have like Arnold Schwarzenegger coming in as a character in a video game, then I'm going to be picturing that person. It's going to be a lot harder for me to disassociate the human behind it and put it onto a character I'm seeing on screen. And that goes also with cartoon animated movies. And finally, I think that not all voiceover actors, but some voiceover actors are trained just to be good at voiceover stuff. And when you're bringing in, not to poke fun at Arnold Schwarzenegger, I don't know for sure that he's trained to do voiceover. He's probably just trained to be an actor and a bodybuilder and a governor.
So I'm guessing the context of the conversation, but I'm assuming it's about why they don't use more famous people in voice in video games.
No, it's the opposite. I like the fact that they don't, and I hope but they're doing it more and more often. You're getting big name actors in video games, but I think that the actual discussion we were having was about movies having actors take the voiceover roles, probably to do with the new Mario movie, which I thought was going to be live action.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, I thought the new Mario movie was going to be live action. I was a little disappointed that it's not.
Yeah, I don't know what gave you that impression, to be honest.
The enormously successful 90s Mario movie?
Okay, that one. Okay. Yeah.
I haven't seen that since I was a kid.
Do you not think, though, and it depends on the game and the type of game, but when you look at like the stuff Rockstar does, or Cyberpunk 2077, that being in a video game and being in a movie is almost, it's not even voiceover anymore. It's basically acting. It's an acting role, isn't it? Even you're wearing a lycra suit while you do it.
Yeah.
But you still act. But you're acting though, because you're not just doing the voice. You're actually doing the mocap too. And
that's true. That's true.
So but not all games like that.
And Keanu Reeves did great, and I think he was probably one of the best parts of Cyberpunk 2077. But I think that there could have been a voice actor for it. Like, what? Get these actors that make too much money out of here.
Well, true, but would a voice actor who is a voiceover artist and not an actor, as in physical acting, would they struggle with actually having to act because they wouldn't be doing just voiceover? But most of it is literally that. It's actually acting a scene out. Again, you're wearing a black suit with dots all over it, but you're still acting.
It pains me to say this out loud, but you're right. You're right.
Okay. I mean,
and I hate, you know how much I hate to say something like that.
James is available for both types of roles, so please do contact his agent.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you doing that.
The city. Do you remember what the city in Cyberpunk is called? Asks Pelagius.
I think it's called Mega City, or it's called
you got the city part right. So I'll give you that for free. But
Night City.
Yay!
Is that it?
That's it. It's Night City. Yeah.
I think Mega City might be from something else. Uh, have you ever heard of the comic book series Transmetropolitan? I think is what it's called.
Not my area of
Trans.
expertise, I'm afraid.
It's a really good comic book, and it feels like it's set in the world of Cyberpunk 2077. But basically, it's the main character of this like 10-part comic book series. Might as well be Hunter S. Thompson in all but the name. And he has been frozen because he was an awful journalist that was doing drugs and being a bad person in the 2000s. And then he's woken up in like the future and is doing journalism. Throughout this like futuristic city of corruption. It's really cool. I totally suggest this the comic book series.
Yeah, it does sound very similar. Cyberpunk's really a genre, isn't it? I suppose more than an actual game.
Yeah,
or
I agree. I just saw that there's a Cyberpunk 2077 anime series, and I kind of want to watch it. I haven't heard anybody. It popped up as an ad on Netflix. I don't know if anybody's
apparently
seen it.
it's very good.
Oh, that's great to hear.
I think even Zach likes it. Maybe Zach wasn't the one who watched it, but
there's no way.
I might be misquoting him on that. He's in the chat, so he'll tell me in a minute if I'm talking shit. But I'm sure. I think one, maybe Morgan watched it and liked it. I'm not sure, but someone did. Someone recommended it to me. Dark Page again says that I cut the ankle on what? I cut the ankle you on the DMP list for 3 to 12 months. What does that mean?
Dark Page is drunk. So here's what he's saying is he's trying to say a cut on the ankle gets you on the DNP list for 3 to 12 months. In this, you're cutting this guy's ankle as like a quick time event if you fall off a ledge, and like it's a pretty nasty cut on his ankle. And I think DNP means either do not patrol, or do not play. But I imagine that if you get an ankle cut, you're not whatever career path Dark Page is talking about, whether it's military or professional sports, you're out for
you're in the
better part of the worser part of the year.
Yep. Okay. Confirmation. Zach does enjoy the Cyberpunk anime. It's a strange world, isn't it?
It is.
I've been trying since it's been patched a lot, the game, and the mod tools are out and everything now. I've been trying to convince Zach to play Cyberpunk again. I don't think he'll go for it though, if I'm honest. Steve the Ghost
says, Mike, you played Resident Evil 4, right?
Well, the one where it's Chris and Shiva.
No, that's Resident Evil 5.
That's 5, isn't it? Oh, which one was 4? Oh no, you're playing 4.
Well, you have a really close
one they haven't played.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but in Resident Evil 4, you get a really dear friend named Mike, and he comes in and he's in a helicopter, and he's a big deal for about 5 minutes, and then he dies. I hope I didn't spoil that in here. I think that's what Steve the Ghost is talking about, but like, yeah, he's in a helicopter and he just keeps saying, "Wipe him clean, or something."
Okay, that makes sense. We talked about it at the start of the stream. So the lack of content is just because James was away for a few weeks and other things. So it's not for any particular reason. So yeah, that's all I can really share at the moment. We are working on other things, but we're still working on them. So we'll get around to it eventually. Hugo missed this. I don't know how that works. Like, how can you miss the video if you commented on it? That's like a
he missed this as in we took like the last video we had recorded of Resident Evil was August 27th.
I missed it. I understand. That's entirely the way that passed in my brain was just inside out and back to front.
I am not seeing this.
I'm very very tired. Yeah. Did you fix your hard drive? That's the big question. Did it work?
Well, I don't know. I guess it got faster.
So yes.
It still takes like a minute. Wait, here's my next question is, should I partition the drive? Because in all fairness, it seems like you don't need to, because partitioning shouldn't make it faster. But here's the reason I would say maybe it would help. If I partitioned it into two 4 terabyte drives, then the search on the two 4 terabytes, it would be split in the different drives. Does that make sense? Because when I hit record in Adobe Audition, now that I have this, even though I'm not even using it, but I think just having an extra drive plugged into my computer, it takes like 2 seconds before the recording begins.
There is a logic to what you're trying to say there, but I'm not sure if you understand it or not. So,
Well, I something is happening now that I've plugged in the new drive that is slowing down. Like if I go to the folders, it'll take like instead of 2 seconds is what it used to be, it'll take like 1 second to open the folder. And I'm thinking that if I partition it into 2 drives, then if I select one of the partitions, it'll be faster in each of them as I like navigate through the folders, because we're not.
yeah.
Because
So
there-
you
does it make sense?
What you're saying makes sense. So what you're proposing will possibly work, but I want to see if you understand why it would work.
Well, in my imagination of how hard drive works, it like if you say open James folder, it has to look through the entire drive of 8 terabytes to find that folder. And if it's on a different end, because it's not an SSD, it's a physical hard drive. So if it's on the outer rim, it's going to start from the center and go to the outer rim to find that folder. But if I partition it into 2 drives, it will know that it's within some partition of that drive, so it won't have to search as far.
So 2 things. You shouldn't install all of your games into the Outer Rim folder, because that's just for the game The Outer Rim.
Yes,
that's
good
possibly
idea.
your first mistake. But you're kind of right in that if you partition it into 2 partitions, the sectors that it will be searching within will be closer together within. So therefore, it could potentially seek faster. Maybe.
But everywhere I've looked online says that that's not true, and I just don't understand how it cannot be true.
Well, because it still has to physically spin the same distance.
Right. Oh, so because it has to spin the same distance, but it can
but
save itself the trouble and not spin during.
When the heads
partition.
move across the platter, if they're closer together, it might be quicker.
I'm gonna give it a shot.
I don't know why it's so slow though. That's just another. Yeah, we'll have to figure it out. Thanks for bringing that up, Bill. Where are we up to? Did we do our Scott Joe? I don't know if we did.
No, we did not. 5627. How many times do we have to say that this game was released in 2004 before Morgan stopped saying this game is from the 1990s?
Morgan. Do you know what? In my head, like anything after the year 2000, I just imagine as being more or less like the modern day, but it's very hard to. It's very easy to forget just how much like the 90s, the early 2000s were.
Yeah. In my mind, anything more than 10 years ago was the 90s, because I'm forever thinking I'm, like.
I've got some rough news for you, James. That's not true anymore.
Whoops. Sorry. That's the way my brain kind of works.
I see like 2006 to 2008 as kind of like the tipping point, because that's when things like Facebook and Twitter got invented and the first iPhone was released. And that's kind of like, ever since then, things have kind of been just like the same, but getting refined and refined. But like before then, everything was very... The early 2000s was very 90s. Like people still had CRT monitors. People still had transparent plastic on everything. Take That was still popular ish. And I don't know. It was just like, do you remember Palm Pilots?
Oh, hell yeah. I remember Palm Pilots.
That's what all good actors have a Palm
That
Pilot.
was the future.
It was. That's how you organize all your auditions. But yeah, the iPhone changed the world. That's what happened there. Kind of. I don't know.
It did, yeah. Well, I don't even know, like the iPhone, sure. But really, it was the iPod. Because at that point in time, that was the first... and I might be wrong. Now I'm just BSing, but I feel like the iPod was the first time you started to carry around like a gig of memory in your pocket. No big deal, with a whole bunch of, at the time, just music being stored. But before that, you never were carrying digital libraries with you. That was the beginning of digital libraries in your pocket.
What, you mean you didn't
And
own a Zune?
I did not own a Zune. I did not own a
What's
Zune.
wrong with you, man?
Yeah.
Do you know it's
But yeah, I think that it was a huge change when people started having digital, like having gigabytes in their pocket. That was not
yeah.
something that people used to do.
I think that's the difference. Because like the first MP3 player was like 1998, but it was like a big Walkman size thing, and it could fit like 2.5 songs on it. But yeah, but there's someone's doing a great documentary. I think it might be LGR or one of those YouTubers about all of the things that have been replaced by your phone, right? Like
Yeah.
so many things, like everything from like
I hate to
yeah,
interrupt, but Pelagius has said something that is absolutely true if we're on the topic of it. The
okay.
control scheme on the iPod was also revolutionary. The fact that you were able to do it, it was so crazy when you wouldn't even have to press buttons. It was touch sensitive, and like you could click the touch screen to do things. The whole sense of the navigating the iPod was revolutionary. They were really ahead of their time.
I miss my Gen 1 iPod. They were quite fun. Wait, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they were quite simple too, so it wasn't distracting. Like you just put some music on and then just put it in your pocket. Those had spinning hard drives in them too, believe it or not.
And those hard drives failed.
Oh yes.
When they came out with the, I don't remember what they called it, but at some point in time there was the SSD version of the iPod, and it had a lot less space. But those things never. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody out there's had it failed. But I had one of those, and it lasted until I just threw it away because I didn't use it anymore.
The SSD probably was, yeah, because I had two classic iPod classics, and they both failed in the end, just because of mechanical.
But those were the hard
drive,
the physical ones, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
the original.
Yeah, I had the same problem with my physical hard drive one.
Hugo says you put a cheat code in and now you're going to keep it. Says Morgan. Don't you think James could use all the help he can get, or is that just in here?
First of all, Morgan was just upset because it wasn't a cheat code. What I did is I found inside the HD, because it's the mod for HD, and in there you can change your field of view. And I made it like a huge field of view.
So you
and
cheated.
Morgan was calling it cheating, but it was just giving him motion sickness. And I turned it back. I put it back.
I mean,
but I wouldn't have. I thought it was awesome. It looked really crazy, like some sort of horror camera.
Manipulating the game in order to give yourself a wider field of view, to give yourself an advantage. It's borderline, because the reason that function is there is because it's HD, right? So the game wasn't...
Yes.
The widescreen wasn't a thing, so it's to give you a better widescreen aspect ratio, field of view. So I don't know. But then if you just slid it all the way over to the maximum it'll go, just to give you the biggest, so you look like you're looking through a fisheye.
It did look like I was looking through a fisheye.
Yeah, so
it
you
didn't seem like it was
cheating.
It didn't feel like it was cheating. It felt like it was harder because it was such a weird
Yeah, because you went, you've gone too far. You've you shot yourself in the proverbial foot there. Pill says, I think one long video is enough to finish Resident Evil 4. I love how Morgan just waits out the timer. Amazing.
It was really funny. I didn't know exactly what he was thinking, but I was kind of just watching. I assumed he had a plan, but basically there's this timer going off that this whole building's going to blow up. And he's like kind of positioning himself and like not really trying to go forward. And I'm like, I don't know. Is he going to shoot the bombs on the building or something? And of course the timer goes up and just kills him. And he's like, oh. I thought we just had to be on the other side of the building when the bombs went off. That's pretty funny.
3829. That's why you set Steam overlay button combination to something like Shift F12, so it's highly unlikely to accidentally.
Yeah,
that's true. Actually, I found
maybe I should do that right now because I will never remember to do that later. So let's go into my settings. We can keep talking, but this is something that has irked me for years.
I do it with the NVIDIA overlay too, because that one can be
Shit.
quite easy to trigger.
Yeah, thank you. That's something I should have done 20 years ago. I've been complaining about that since 1999.
It's time for one of Pills's excellent
Oh,
trivia.
Pelagius says stream went down. That's not possible, is it?
Don't know. It seems to be alive for me. I will check.
All right.
We still
I
seem
think
to
it's
be
just
on...
for Pelagius because it was still working for me.
Yep, we are still on the air as far as I can
he said
see.
just for a bit.
Well, I'm the one doing the stream, so it would be my fault. But
I still blame Bourbon. I still blame Bourbon.
I blame Boban.
I'm having a hard time talking today.
Yeah. So Pills trivia. I like Pills trivia. It's always my favorite part of Resident Evil. Amusing trivia this week. Due to a bug, Krauser takes a lot more damage from the knife that was originally intended, but due to it being a cool high risk, high reward thing and fitting to the theme of the boss, they intentionally left the bug in. Later, similar bug in the Resident Evil 2 remake, although caused by a different technical issue, was also left in as a kind of continuity breaking homage to Resident Evil 4. There you go.
I don't know if the stream went down, so I just want to make sure I say this out loud. Pill, thank you for the Shift F12 tip. I changed it in my Steam just now, so it'll never happen again. I should have done that 20 years ago. Is what I said.
Yes. And I think they call this a feature, not a bug, don't they? I think.
Well, the first one is a feature, not a bug. The second one is legacy, what they would call a legacy issue.
Yeah. The first one is a feature, not a bug, and the second one is a bug, which is a homage to a feature, which is not a bug. As an Easter egg, if you will. Games with Heath is finally back. GameAware.net says Mike will not be forgotten. Wiped and cleaned.
I mean, it was ridiculous. The guy comes in and they're like, he's only in the game for like 5 minutes. And we're like, oh, Mike, thank God you're here. It's nice to meet you. Good to have somebody. And he's like, we should go to a bar. Wipe him clean. He says this wipe him clean line like 20 times in the 5 minutes he gets to shine in the game. And then right when we're like, yeah, let's like get together later, then somebody rockets him and blows him up.
So, yeah.
What a weird relationship that they just crammed into this game.
Yeah, it's always tough when they try and manufacture some kind of emotional investment in a character in a very short space of time because they want to kill him off quickly.
It's one of those things that Aaron and I laugh about a lot. Like we'll be watching, I'm giving this as a weird example, but it's been years since we watched it. But like all of a sudden you'll see like 2 new characters pop up in The Walking Dead and you're like, oh, wait a second, who are they? And like everybody's treating them like they know them and they're important. And you're like, oh, these guys are the new fresh meat.
They're gonna die.
yeah. They're gonna either die in this episode or the next episode. They're trying to fool us into thinking these characters have been here the whole time.
It's yeah. We didn't want to sign them onto a contract because they're going to die. But sorry. Go
It reminds me of one of my favorite episodes of Rick and Morty. Have you seen a bunch of Rick and Morty?
I haven't seen much of Rick and Morty. I've seen a few.
I would argue it's one of the best shows of all time. Science fiction, comedy, anything you can think, animated. Like it just is so good. All of the episodes are standalone. Great, but if you watch them in order, they're even better. But there's one episode where there's a parasite, and this parasite makes themselves they create memories in people's heads that they've been there all along. And like, so it'll be like, oh, I'm your cousin Jerry. Well, Jerry's a character in the show, but like, and it's like messing with their minds because they don't want this person to be killed, but you got to kill these parasites. Me explaining in 10 seconds an amazing episode of Rick and Morty doesn't quite do it justice. You're just going to have to watch the show.
I get it. I quite like Star Trek Lower Decks, which is on at the moment. And I think that's made by the same.
Oh, is that a comedy show?
It's a comedy, animated comedy, but it's based in the Star Trek universe.
I gotta watch some Star Trek. I've never seen an episode, a movie, and now I've also never seen the animated series.
Well, if you might get on with Lower Decks because it's I believe it's made by the same creators as Rick and Morty. I'm sure, unless I'm imagining that. But and because again it's like a comedy science fiction thing where it's Mike McMahon who made Rick and Morty as well. So and it's similar, right? So it's like animated. It's like kind of isolated stories, so it would be a lot easier to jump into that, I think, than proper Star Trek, for want of a better term. Dark Page says, I think it's strange that his enemies FaceTime, chat it up for a little, and then don't say anything.
I don't exactly understand what Dark Page is saying there. I think he's been like kind of, drinking the juice for a hot minute, but I understand because these guys are FaceTiming the whole, like, you're always FaceTiming with Sadler, the main enemy in the game. And they chat it up for a little bit, and then they don't say anything. I don't know what he means by they don't say anything.
I don't know, is there like a long pause before they hang up? Do they just give each other a bit of a stare? Is it trying to load something?
Not that I
in?
recall. I guess it's possible that Dark Page has noticed something that's gone beyond me, but I didn't notice like a long pause afterwards. But I don't know.
If you're a Dark Page, some clarification.
Clarification is needed.
Is needed.
And now Pelagius comes in hot with, finally, James found an enemy who can match accuracy.
I'm guessing this enemy wasn't very accurate then.
Well, I mean, that's what you would think. That's what you would think.
Okay.
What the hell kind of comments that's supposed to be, Pelagius? Well, secondly, Morgan's the guy that takes our most expensive rarity ammo and just unloads it into the air around a bad guy. I don't remember how bad my shooting was, but I do remember how bad that enemy's shooting was. It was incredibly bad. So what? Can't we say Morgan? Can't we say Morgan found an enemy that... Pelagius. You're lucky you gave me that Shift F12 tip.
Lest we bring up Magnums. Cool. Well, so Resident Evil 4 is nearly done then. So I guess you're moving on to... You've not done 6 yet, I suppose, because you did...
We have not done 6. Morgan and I are both very much looking forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah, so you did 1, 2, 5, 3,
technically,
4. And then
technically,
you're gonna do 6, 7, 8. Okay.
Yeah. But technically, I think Resident Evil 6 is up to 4 players. So I don't want to make you sign on to it for too long.
Okay. You want me and Zach involved, potentially.
Well, I mean, it's potentially. Like, we'll see if it's drop in, drop out. Because, like, what we wouldn't want to do is make it so that we all had to
do it.
Because that could slow us down quite a bit. Because I can only carry Zach for so long.
I've heard that 6 is a train wreck. And 4 and 6 are the only 2 I haven't played at this point. And for reasons. So have you played 6 before?
I did, and I don't remember it very well. I played it with, I believe, Zach and Mitch. But I have a hard time remembering it. I guess I could look it up on GameFront. There's probably videos from the past of it.
Past James has a warning for future James. Don't play Resident Evil 6. Cool. Because to be honest, I know you've played 7 before, but you haven't played
7.
Yeah, 7's
8.
really
I have not
good.
played 8.
And 8 is kind of like a sequel to 7. It ties in.
I mean, you'd hope they're all sequels to each other, Danny.
Yeah.
It's Resident Evil 8.
No, but I mean, it's because you play as Ethan in 7, and it carries on his little storyline.
Oh, it does. I didn't know that.
Yeah. So no, I'm just let's put it this way. There's a big. No, I can't spoil it, can I?
Yeah, don't spoil it. I probably wouldn't remember it, but just in case.
Yeah,
I am looking forward to 8.
I can't wait for you to play 8. I want to see you play all the way through 7 too, actually. But
I can't wait. I've already played through it, so I'm half wondering if I should just have Morgan play it and watch him through it.
Avoid Village. What's wrong with you, El Mono Mike? Don't say things like that. It's my favorite one. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Anyway. Yeah, it is a single player game, so you might, yeah. You should probably get Morgan to play 7 and you should play 8, maybe.
Not at the same time. Like I haven't played 8, and neither has he. So we could wait. Did he play 8 with you?
No, that's one. But you've
Okay, yeah.
played 7, so he could play
I've played
7 because
7.
you've played it. And neither of you played
Yeah.
8, but you should play 8. So
I think we should play 8 together.
yeah, you could take 10s and stuff.
Yeah.
It's up to you.
That's how we've done all the other ones. The only one, but I also had played 5, but that's co-op, and I had played 1, but that was when I was a kid. I don't know. We'll talk about it, but first we have to conquer 6. So, and I think there's like multiple. There might be very many ways to play. I think you got to beat it in every character or something to get the whole story.
You're surely
we'll
not
see.
doing that, right?
I don't think so. I don't know. We'll what we do during improv shows, Bear Supply and places, we say we follow the fun. And if we approach it by, we're going to play Resident Evil 6 and we're going to beat it and we'll follow the fun. There's also a lot of people saying that once we beat 4, we need to play something afterwards in 4. So maybe there will be another visit to 4 before we go on to 6.
Steve the Ghost has a very good point, which is when you've got, if you're going to be completionist in that way, surely you should play the PlayStation 1 versions of Resident Evil 1 and 2. Because you played the remakes of those. And 3,
Yeah,
I suppose.
well, Resident Evil 1's remake was pretty much the same. Like, it had the locked cameras and everything. Resident Evil 2, I never played the original, so I don't know. But Resident Evil 1, I can't imagine there really being anything that you need to get from the PS1 version.
I'd have to look back at what I remember you playing the remake of 1, and
Yeah, I played the remake of 1 for sure. It might be that it was on Adventure Bits, so
it was on
we
Adventure
gotta
Bits.
download it and port it over.
You did that one on Adventure Bits, but
yeah,
I could have swore it was a bit different from the PlayStation version, but I might be wrong. But Resident Evil 2 is very different on, like, sweepingly it's the same, but it's a lot different on PlayStation than it is on the remake. And 3 there's a ton of stuff missing from the 3 remake, so I mean, I don't know. Anyway, Elden Ring, episode number 61. Brad Hahn says, off topic, has anyone got any thoughts on Scorn? I've heard good things about it, so maybe that's one we could cover later today.
Yeah, I was looking at that also. It was popping up on Steam. I don't know how much that one is.
Well, we can figure that out. I love the Geiger-esque visuals, but for what I'm seeing, the gameplay is a bit naff. Thinking it might be one of those get it on sale type games. Well, maybe we should review it for you and get you the answers, Brad, that you seek.
It doesn't have very good reviews, and it's like, a full price game is $40. I don't know. It looks okay, but I'm not sold.
It could be another Biomutant situation, is what you're saying.
It in all possibility could be worse.
Oh, that's Scorn is average, says Pill. It's on Games Pass. There you go. We can try it for free.
Oh, well, there you go.
Job done. Isn't it? Question mark. We'll have to check that. Thanks, Zach. Yeah, it might be. Well, I'll have a look. We'll see if we can find it anywhere for free. Free, quote unquote. Dark Page says at 55:17 bars. Don't know what that means.
I already clicked that and I did not understand it. I think he is still drunk on the same day that
he's still drunk. Go home, you're drunk.
Bars.
Oh, you just say the word bars for some reason.
Do I say the word bars?
Oh, did you just say bars?
Today. Not even a little bit today?
I don't know.
Stone sword.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what the bars.
Dark Page, even more clarification needed, please. Do you want
Yeah,
to do?
I think he has some splaining to do.
Yeah.
So Zach is giving me a hard time about $40 being a full price game. I just mean that when I look at a glance at Scorn, it doesn't look like it looks like an indie game, but it's priced at like, I don't know, indie games can be $40. You're right. If it's a good game, but it just kind of doesn't look like I don't know. It doesn't look like a $40 game to me.
It's an indie game with a AA price tag. Is
Yeah,
what
not
you're trying to
AAA,
say.
but AA. Yeah.
Mm.
And then we have Brad comes in saying, I got close to beating Melania. Not close enough to be super salty about it, but close enough to make me think that I can actually do it with a bit more practice. And Steve T says, you can do it. Just keep at it and don't get discouraged. Well, that's what I love about the community.
This just so I don't have a panic attack, is Melania, is this a mandatory boss or is it an optional boss?
It's an optional boss, but I've made it mandatory in my run.
So that makes it mandatory in my run then, doesn't it?
I don't know. I'm not sure what your run parameters are.
Well, I mean,
I am not playing an all boss run, but I did agree that I would beat Melania, even though it seems ridiculous that I would agree to that.
Bill says it's mandatory boss. I don't know if that's true or not, but Bill says mandatory boss. But if you beat it, I've got to beat it because I can't not do something you do.
And you know what I'm going to do to beat it? I'm going to keep at it and not get discouraged. Discouraged, just like Steve the Ghost says.
Well, I'm concerned that if the veterans of the chat are struggling with this boss, then I'm never going to be able to do it. That's impossible. Surely.
Danny, if you put 1,000,000 monkeys in a room for 1,000 years with just one typewriter,
no, not for 1,000 years. No, it's
and in 1,000 years you crack the door open, you have a big room full of skeletons.
No, that's not how it goes. If you put 1,000 monkeys in a room for 1,000 years, you'll just get 1,000 years worth of nonsense out of monkeys. That's not. It has to be infinite in one way or another. So it has to either be an infinite number of monkeys or an infinite amount of time.
I'll tell you what,
because in an infinite amount of time, everything will happen eventually because it never ends.
Unfortunately, Danny, the problem with your theory is I tried it, and about a month and a half later, they were all dead. They were all dead in a month and a half. So it doesn't matter how much time they have. They don't last long unless you give them food and water. It's a nightmare.
Someone get me Peter on the line, please. I need to report on Mr. Heaney for animal cruelty. There's just going to be a lot of shit and dead monkeys. Yeah, that's true. That is the outcome.
So now,
moving swiftly
now
on.
Spartan's coming at me again. He says, "Well, it's not him again. Everybody's always after me. It's not fair. Not only does James have an issue with left and right, but also front and back. How does this man get anywhere or do anything in real life? Are you telling me that you've never misunderstood whether you're going forwards or backwards?"
I can see you
Danny.
walking to work backwards, going the wrong way. You know, I have to admit, I don't think I've ever struggled with forwards and back.
You're saying you have never just tried to sprint forward and ended up going backwards on accident?
Never. But have you ever flown a drone?
No. I mean, in video games, I've flown drones, but I don't think that really counts.
Oh, we never spoke to the guy to get you that. Oh, and thank you for the subscription there from Camilla. Lol.
Camilla.
But if you ever fly a drone and you forget which orientation you're in, it's very easy to accidentally go backwards instead of forwards and vice versa. I'm very touchy about flying close to things with my drone because I'm a bit paranoid. I'm going to press the wrong direction and just slam into a building or something, you know?
In all fairness, my dad was a drone, so I've inherited some of the drone quality.
That's a funny joke.
No, I don't. I actually don't know what this is specifically referencing. I have no idea when I had a hard time deciphering between forwards and backwards.
A timestamp would be nice, please, Spartan. Thank you.
Or I'm going to have to say that it probably didn't happen.
Ken Eric says, "My God, I love the James Heaney show."
It's a good show.
This is a platform for you to share the tales of your life, basically, isn't it? I can,
it's my diary, basically.
yeah. This is more of a podcast than it is a video game let's play. But Pill says, "Huh. Normally been getting the bloody cloth from the starting area. Didn't know you could get it at the Church of Inhibition too. Mostly because I would have already had it by the time I arrived there. But decent progress. Good job. Excruciatingly terrible map reading as always, though. For the next video, you could drill Dragon's ass." Okay. Or Suicide and Nazgul. Morgan knows about those. I'm using a useful ways to pass time. I'm sure he does.
Yeah. Drilling a dragon's ass. I don't know. I'll have to wait for. Unless do you know what that's referencing?
I don't. I'm not that far yet. I don't think. It is quite common in video game design to have an item which you basically always have to pick up at the start of the game, and either through the fact that it's really obvious that you should, or it's right in front of you, or the game won't let you proceed without it. But video game designers will often still put a second version of that item later on in the game, which you generally will never see and probably won't even spawn. But just in case you somehow manage to get to that point without that item, they'll put it in anyway, just so the game doesn't get broken and that you can still pick it up and carry on. So it's quite common to see that in games. Or should I say it's quite common not to see that, because if you do it properly, you shouldn't see it. But,
I can't help but feel like I'm always the anomaly. Like I am Neo in The Matrix Part 2, and I found out that like I am always the odd randomizer.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I think I have pretty bad luck too, though. I don't know. Apparently, we're very similar, you and I, in our gameplay styles. I don't
Weird.
know. It's weird. Mikhail Rose says, Jabs is so unintentionally funny. I don't want to say he's dumb, but his choices and decisions are those a dumb person would make. That's brutal. Jesus Christ.
Well, listen, Mikhail Rose has no idea how intentional all these funny things are. Every single one of those jokes is something I have tried so hard to curate. All right? It's not unintentional.
It's all long. A bit.
It's all a bit. It's all a bit. Oh, I got an itch on my back.
Okay.
Oh, it's at the spot you can't reach. Oh, all right. I didn't get it, but it's kind of subtly gone away on its own.
Do you want to do nice?
That was yes. So 3304. I feel like this is. Go ahead and do the read more, because with a little context, I might. Okay, never mind. I thought maybe this was going to be a song. Visions of DS1 Lord Vessel butthole. What? And then top-notch observational skills.
Let's have a look.
Besides those things, they look so much smaller in your pocket.
Oh, it does kind of.
It does represent a
kind of a Lord Vessel.
Yeah. Let's have a look at this one.
Something about bad navigation skills.
Observational skills.
Have I looked at it now? Am I looking at it right now?
You were.
I think you're looking for something.
Right past it.
I didn't see what you went
I have
past.
no idea. I didn't either.
If you looked at it, if you look north of here, that's when I walked.
Oh, there it is. That was there was a site of grace up on that little hill that I passed by.
See,
I mean,
I missed
easily
it too.
like you missed it too.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I see it now.
But it's so obvious to Morgan that he has a full-fledged belly laugh over it. Like what a psycho. What a psycho Morgan is, right?
You know what? You might defend me on this one, right? So this is what I tried to explain to people on a stream the other weekend. So I missed a golden seed tree, right? In a really obvious. In hindsight, it was obvious, but
of course, in hindsight,
I'd rolled off somewhere to roll off somewhere to get away from something quickly, so it was like a situation. But anyway, so I missed this golden tree.
I have been in that situation, Danny. Go on.
So everyone's like giving me like real grief over the fact that how could I not see this golden tree, right? But if you're not the one playing the game, you could be looking at a completely different part of the screen to the part I'm looking at as the person playing the game, right? So it's not like I've intentionally missed it, but if I was looking off to my left and you're looking on the right-hand side of the screen, because you're not thinking about what you're doing next, that's what I'm doing, right? So it's, I think, look, Steve says it took up half the screen, but what if I was looking at the other half of the screen, Steve? That's the point.
Yeah.
You know? And all I'm saying with this is, right, if we take a look at this little not bonfire, it's a grace, sites of grace. It's very clearly the same color as the surrounding grass.
Yeah.
That could very easily be a blade of grass, which has got a bit of a reflection from the sun going on.
Sure.
You don't know, do you? And in the corner of your eye, in your peripheral vision, you might not necessarily pick up on it.
Well, here's the thing though, Danny. I have my screen so close to my face and it's a widescreen, so in order to see it, this is me looking at it. Like I see it now. But like if I'm looking forward, that's outside of my peripheral vision. Do you believe that? Do you believe that?
Do you know what? Actually, the very serious point. How many people in the chat? You know what? I'm going to do a poll. I want to know. I want to know for sure. I want to know how many people in the chat play on a PC monitor versus play on a sofa on a TV. Because I think that would make it. I've noticed if you kicked back on a sofa playing at a TV, which is at a distance, it's way easier to see everything than it is when you sat playing on a monitor that's close to you, I think. So I would like to know. New poll.
I'm excited to hear, because I never even thought about that, but that's probably a huge piece of the puzzle. And secondly, how many people are sitting on that sofa? Is that sofa in a stadium? And how many people are watching these YouTube videos?
Okay.
And secondly, and a whole nother argument on it, I'm only getting like 10 frames a second. So I'm lucky if one of those frames happened to show the
I immediately ended the poll for some reason. Let me do that again. Why did I just end the poll? This is why I don't do Twitch stuff. Mikey, please help me. There we go. We'll do it again. Right, I'm doing the poll again. Apologies.
Should I vote in the poll?
If you want to bias the results, then go ahead.
I don't want to bias the results, but do I not count?
Well, you're the one doing the research.
You're the one doing the research. Don't pull me in on this
research
plan, Danny.
Then, go ahead.
All right, we're on a team. We're on a team. We're on a team.
Feel free to have a vote.
It just hurts me not to vote. I got democracy in my blood.
So one person's voted for TV kicking back. Well, we'll let that build up and come back to it. But
so 100% of Elden Ring players play on a TV.
100% of all my research says vote button isn't. I did accidentally end the first poll, so maybe there's a second poll. Find the latest poll. Then vote on that. But as it stands, there's more votes coming in, and 100% of Elden Ring players do play on a TV, kicking back on the sofa.
From all the research that
from all my
GameFront's think tank has put together,
PhD
100%
research.
of players, no exceptions.
I did not spend 5 years at university for nothing. I mean, to be honest, I didn't spend 5 years at university at all. But that's why this is golden research. I think that's it. I bet if you didn't have Zach screaming down this ear, and you were sitting at a distance playing on a TV, I think it'd be a much different experience. See, they don't understand the struggles we go through. El Mono Mike says, hello guys, good progress and great content like always. For your information, there was an upgrade today that made big boosts on dot incantation like poison. However, the incantation of rot breath takes double to get an enemy getting affected by rot. But Melina's flower got a great boost. In other words, spells and incantations, hot and ice buff.
So sorry, Danny. I've got bad news.
Poll ended.
I watched the clip that Pelagius shared of you missing the golden seed.
No, don't do this to me, man. Come on, we've been getting on all day.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. There's no excuse for that. There's no excuse for that. Shame on you for missing that golden seed. God, it feels good to be on the other side of this. I could get used to this.
Listen, who's catching up to you rapidly? If you want to throw the gloves down, if you want to make this a war, then we'll have a war. But you know, I've been nice to you today so far on the whole.
You're right. I'm sorry.
And then you're coming in with the backstab.
I guess you really weren't looking at 50% of the screen. What I didn't realize is that tree took up 50% of the screen. And you just happen to not be looking at that entire 50% of the screen.
Okay, I mean, maybe that's a bad example, but the principle is still there.
I should watch this, though. I did look away to watch that clip, which, honestly, the person you should be mad about is Pelagius, because he shared the clip, which is, unless he did some sort of deep fake video, it's pretty crazy. El Mono Micah said, hello guys, progress great. I read this already. There's an upgrade today that made boosts in DOT like poison. However, the incantation of rot breath takes double to get an enemy. So I didn't get that upgrade, is what they're saying. What are you taking away from El Mono Mike's? Did I get it and I'm not using it, or did I not get it and I should get it?
I think he's talking about an update rather than an upgrade.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Like a patch. Now I may be wrong, but I think that's my my assumption there. Yeah, patch. I think they mean patch. Not patches, but a patch to the game.
Yeah, that makes sense.
A game update patch, yes.
Zachary Bell. I may have missed it in an older episode, but Vike's War Spear is dropped by an invader at the back of the Frenzy Village, where the Madness in Lakes of Liarnia is. But the weapon has a massive AoE for its weapon art. That sounds fun. Let's see. Shoot. I don't have my my notebook here.
Don't have your notebook.
Actually, I do have a notebook, but I don't have a pen. Do you mind if I just step away for 1 second? I'm going to write that down because I do think that I know that village. So if I write it down, it is something that I can figure out. Give me one moment. I'm sorry, Danny.
Go ahead. I will chat with the chat. Patches needs a patch. It's true. I think it would be great that if there is a new patch to the game, that the next time you load in, Patches appears out of nowhere and tells you that there's been a patch. The Patches patch. But sometimes he'll just appear and pretend there's been a patch when there hasn't been a patch because he's a sneaky guy and you can't trust him. Pill says, you've got it, James. Problem is it may do decent damage, but it's more PvP weapon because Madness effect only works on players.
Well, it mostly works on players. It works on humanoid characters. So I already have that spear. All right. Well, thank you for saving me from writing that down.
I don't know if you've already got. Oh yeah, no, yeah. Pill says you've got it. Yeah.
Dark Page says, "Okay, I haven't finished reading this yet, but it seems like it's an attack. James is so crazy. Let me go ahead and combine these two medallions with completely different names. Well, so here's the argument why he's crazy to think I'm crazy. Wouldn't you think that if there's two pieces, each would have its own name? and that's why you put it together. If they were two with
Well,
the same name, I would think it's a duplicate piece.
if you combine two things that are the same, you'll just end up with another one of the same thing. You'll have just lost one, surely. Or would you just get a bigger version? Whereas if you combine two different things, you'll get a unique new thing, which may have certain advantages of both, and maybe
Yeah.
disadvantages.
So basically, can you picture a best friend heart necklace?
Yep.
So there's basically two pieces of this best friend heart necklace. It's a medallion, not a heart necklace.
Yep.
Now, each of them has different names. Now, what I didn't realize is there are multiple of these broken medallions in the game, and you need two of the same name to put together because it's the two halves. But I didn't know that at the time. I didn't have the context of there being, I didn't know there was a bunch of different medallions to build together.
Oh, so you tried to combine two broken halves of medallion, but one was a heart shape and one was like a square, and you just tried to push them together.
Well, let's put it in perspective. They were both circles.
No,
they were both
let's-
circles.
let's put into perspective the golden tree incident, and just say that, James, I'm so ashamed of you. I can't believe you would do something so obvious.
It says left and right. That kind of hints the different pieces of one thing. So yeah, I don't differentiate left and right. Thank you. Oh, I don't like it. I feel like that's just a personal attack. Ulasile's botnet warms my poor heart to see the lads back in the lands between.
Good stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff.
It has been a few weeks. And then finally, for this week, Dangerous87 says, the race is on and Danny is catching up fast. Capital letters, fast.
Yeah, it seems like you're catching up quick. But I'm looking, I know that maybe there's the bit should be that I don't want you to catch up. But realistically, if you do catch up, I think that's all the better. Then you can be the coach. Like, I don't know that today's the day that you should coach me, because if you're this close to catching up, then let's wait for you to pass me. Because it's probably only going to be one more or two more weeks before then you can legitimately be like, this is where you need to go and this is what you need to do.
That makes sense. We should, yeah.
It's tempting. I was definitely tempted, since Morgan's not here, to have you as the coach. But I think if we wait another week, it'll be better.
I wonder if Zach is ahead of you. Maybe Zach can coach you. But, although I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Brad Hart in the chat says, Jabbies, you have such trouble with left and right. Have you tried using port and starboard instead?
What, where do you see that?
It's on YouTube chat. But
use what instead?
Port and starboard instead.
Port and starboard. Yeah, actually, that makes a lot of sense. Port and starboard is how I was trained, because I was raised by my dad was a drone and my mom was a sailor. So I was raised on a ship, and that's how.
That's not true, is it?
It's absolutely true. My dad was a robot, and my mom was she was a pirate, but she preferred to be called a sailor. No, it's not true. Come on, Danny. Come on, Danny.
Well, I mean, the sailor bit might have been true for all I know. Do you know which one's port and which one's starboard, though?
Well, I think they're both left, isn't it? Is that the case?
No, one of them's definitely right. Do you know which one is right?
Starboard.
Very good.
I know it's not very good. It's just because I know, and port is left.
Yeah, Zach taught me this because Zach works with boats, and Zach said port is left because it's the same number of letters in the word.
Oh, that's actually a great way to remember it. I was honestly just guessing.
Oh well, good guess. You made it.
Well, it was 50%. So,
well, you rolled the dice and you got lucky. You made me look a fool.
I was looking at the right side of the screen, as they say.
Yeah, port before starboard, left before right. But I just remember port and left have both got 4 letters in the word, and that's just, for whatever reason, for me, I just find that a very easy way to remember it. We were playing a lot of Sea of Thieves, you see, and that's when that conversation came up.
It's been a while since I played Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
And you know what I just read? I didn't actually read what the update was, but I heard there's a giant new patch for No Man's Sky.
That may be true. I wouldn't know. I streamed No Man's Sky once with Zach and Mikey and never played it again. But
That was the only time you ever played it?
no, I'd played it before years ago, but I
Just streamed it only once.
But I only streamed it the one time. I don't know. Those kinds of games where basically you just make your own fun and you just kind of just go around, basically grinding for resources to build things is just kind of like I don't know, not my cup of tea. No, it's not for me.
Well, I mean, you're half right. There is a storyline, but there's a lot of grinding to get through the story in that game.
Well, that's the thing. Like, there's a storyline, but it took me like an hour just to figure out how to get my ship to fly by getting all the bits I needed to make it work. So, like, I like stories in games, but I like the story to progress from time to time. It's just because I'm lazy. The big patch came out in time for the Switch release, apparently. So there you go. I think.
You know what? I've been playing Overwatch with Johnny Cruz. It's free to play, and it's like insanely good. Have you been? Were you ever an Overwatch fan?
I played a bit of Overwatch. Yeah, that's the one where you guard the thing as it goes along, right? I forget the name of it.
They've got several different. They've got
more game modes since I last played it. Yeah.
As far as I know, they only have one, at least that I've played, one brand new game mode in Overwatch 2. But all of the previous game modes that I can recall are still there.
I never played Overwatch 2.
Well, it just came out.
Yeah. But it was years ago when I played Overwatch 1, and do you remember Jeff, who used to work at GameFront?
Jeff Mills.
Jeff Mills, it was his favorite game. He always wanted us to play Overwatch, so I think that was why I was playing it. But I haven't played it for a very long time, so maybe we should play Overwatch too.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for. I was seriously thinking about making a guide, but the problem is I suck at the game.
Yeah, it doesn't help, does it?
God, do I suck. I'm really good at like 2 characters, but that's not enough to make a guide,
Well, you can make a guide on those 2 characters.
I feel like I'm good at playing Lucio. I'm really good at playing Lucio. Conveniently, that's the character that Johnny Cruz is the voice of. But it's unrelated. That's not why I got good at it. But it's an area effect healer. Typically, I do much better as healers. When I was playing Heroes of the Storm, I did that. I don't know if that's just basically the easier role, or if it's because you queue so much faster playing as a healer. So I just take whatever gets me in the game faster. That means that I can I get more practice on it because I'm always playing the same thing. I'm usually playing Phil. Like fill in any role, and that typically means I'm playing a healer.
That makes sense. Apparently Deathloop is free in the Humble bundle this month.
I was looking at that Humble bundle monthly, and Deathloop was pretty. Let me look at it again. Let's see what's in the bundle. There was something else that looked pretty good, but there's only 2 games in this month's. I dropped the.
Deathloop is pretty good though if you haven't played it.
I haven't, but wasn't it free on?
I think it might be on Games Pass though. Yeah,
that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
Oh, Monster Train! And that was a game I played on Game Pass. I loved Monster Train.
I think that's the problem with Games Pass. There's so much stuff on it that things like Humble Monthly just all of a sudden, a lot of games end up on. Because I think when developers get to the point where they want to put it on things like Humble, they'll put it on Games Pass too.
Did you ever play Monster Train?
I didn't play no. Is it some kind of combination of? Let me have a look.
It kind of reminds me of Minion Masters. Did you ever play that? It's like Minion Masters. It's kind of it's not really. It's more like a Darkest Dungeon.
Is it like a deck building game?
It's kind of like a deck building game, but it's a weird one. I would say yes, it's a deck building game, but it just has a different visual approach to it. And it's like got just a fun world that they've created. You're going on this train across the deserts of hell into the ice of hell, and like it's fun. It's a mindless game that you can lose hours and hours on.
Kamikaze Eye says Golf Gang looks fun with friends. I've played a lot of Golf Gang. It's very good.
Really? Is it turn based or is everybody playing at the same time?
It's turn based.
Oh, I like that. I thought it was like I play golf with your friends, and it's not bad, but I'd much rather the slow pace of each person taking their turn and golfing.
Yeah, Golf Gang's a bit weird. It's more this is a different golf game, the one I've played. This one looks more like a racing game. This one reminds me more of like what was that pinball game where you basically raced pinballs on the Dreamcast. I forget. Anyway, I don't know. It does look fun though.
Yeah, I just don't know that I want to get this month's Humble Bundle. In fact, I should check to make sure I'm not going to get charged for Xbox Game Pass.
Well, do you know, since your sponsorship deal with Humble ran out, you don't seem keen on promoting Humble Bundle.
Well, I'm only allowed to have so many different accounts, and like it had to bite the dust. Especially there was an easy month to cancel. There was like something where it was like, oh, I've already got the best thing in here. I'm a little tempted with Deathloop, but
I bet you. I'm pretty sure it's on Game. Check it's on Games Pass. I'm pretty sure it's on Games Pass. Honestly, I will look right now for you. Just because, why not? While we're here, but I wonder if Golf Gang is on Games Pass. It seems that kind of thing that would be.
I also find that usually the next month after Humble Bundle Monthly, those games go on sale on Humble Bundle. Not every time, but often.
Monster Train's on there on Xbox, so you can just get that on Games Pass. So I wonder if Golf Gang is on Games Pass. It is not, but Golf with Your Friends is on there.
That game's fun. I love Mario Golf. I love like arcadey golf games where you take it one turn at a time.
Turbo Golf Racing. This big golf tournament for the Neo Geos on there too. Oh Jesus, the artwork on this. What? Let me check Deathloop. Deathloop is on Games Pass.
It's on there. I checked already.
Yeah. So,
sorry, Humble Monthly.
Yeah, it's true. In the shadow of Games Pass, it's not good value anymore, is it?
Yeah, and I mean, Morgan says he will not get another game launcher, but there are so many free games on Epic Games. I don't understand the reason people don't want to. Like, I just don't get it. Like, why do people hate it so much?
Because it's not Steam, which isn't a valid reason, really. I don't know. It lacks some of the features of Steam, I suppose, and it probably does need a bit of work as a launcher, but like it.
The free games they offer
free games
are insane.
And also competition's healthy. I don't think propping up Steam as a monopoly is a good thing to do, honestly. There's a reason for game developers. For game developers, Steam is bad. Like, it's very bad. They take a 30% cut of any transaction on Steam, which ridiculous cut. So Steam is just not.
Do you know what percentage by chance Epic takes?
Yeah, it's 12%, which is much more reasonable. Oh my god!
Holy moly, that's insane! I thought it was going to be way closer.
Nope.
Well, I remember there being a lawsuit with Fortnite. Now that's an Epic game, and they were upset because they wanted people to, I think, have to make purchases through the Epic Game Store for like tokens or something. And I think it might have been Apple uh, didn't allow to have purchases outside of their platform. Does that relate to what you're talking about?
No, but it's a similar situation where basically, like if you want to buy something in game, like a microtransaction in a game on iOS, you have to go through Apple's payment flow, which means that they take a cut of every transaction, right? You can't just implement your own payment provider and just take the payment directly and keep it for yourself.
And Fortnite removed itself from Apple, unless I'm incorrect. Is that true?
Apple removed it because they implemented their own payment system and bypassed Apple's.
So
they broke the rules.
By choosing not to follow those rules, they were removed. But it's like, who's really making a choice? They certainly weren't going to give up the. They weren't going to do it.
Yeah.
Do you know if it's back on Apple? Or if they just decide never be on there?
I don't think it's back on Apple. I think you can play it on an iPhone through Xbox game streaming or something like that. Is the like, when I last checked it, but yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, there's various reasons why you might like or dislike Apple, I suppose, but Epic, I suppose, but from my point of view as someone on the other side of the fence, working with a lot of game studios, especially ones that are on Epic, because like the company I work for do games that are mainly not on Steam because that's where we shine, right? Because it's cross-platform mod support. There's a lot of good reasons why developers don't want to stick with Steam, but like a lot of people want to deplatform from Steam because it is a monopoly. Like whether the platform, and that isn't to say it's not necessarily the best, most refined launcher, but there's a reason why you shouldn't put your eggs in one basket. Anyway, I've probably talked too much about insider baseball, so we'll end it there. But thank you, James, for a very good fan mail today. Much appreciated.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thank you. I look forward to you passing me in Elden Ring, because then I'm also looking forward to you joining me on.
I am excited too. Maybe in the next couple of weeks we can probably line that up. So we'll see.